one day I was minding my own business and one of my best friends called me on the phone. And she told me about this organization that she was a part of that changed her life. And she was like, I want you to come to this meeting. Now, if you have friends who are in network marketing, which you can have a network marketing cult, I think. If you have friends who are in network marketing, then you know about the call to come to a meeting. You know about that. And you know the energy in the room, it's like so exciting, so transformational, so much community. You really can get roped in, and I did, and I'm so glad that I did. I got so much from this experience, and I want to share some of those lessons with you today. So today we're going to be talking about 10 financial lessons I learned in a cult. Number 1, ask for help. Now, at first I would call this begging. I learned how to beg real good. And I remember it was the day after I finished my second program, and I didn't have enough to get into my third program. And when I mentioned that to the coaches, they were like, that's okay. Just ask your community. Ask them to help you raise the money for your next class. When I tell you, that would have never occurred to me. I am an eldest daughter, right? I don't ask people for help. Like, maybe if I was in a burning building and somebody had water that could help me, I might ask them for some help. But like, maybe. And so they were like, just go ask for help. And of course, I am trying to get out of my comfort zone. I'm doing things that I wouldn't normally do. And I did it. And I went to ask one person, and they were like, oh yeah, sure. And then they started going around asking other people with me and for me. And the next thing I knew, like, the whole room is actively involved in helping me raise the money to get into my next program. And I was wrecked. Like, I was floored. I was done. I couldn't believe that there were people who cared enough about me, who would want to invest in me, who didn't even know me, but would be willing to help me. I was blown away. And what it showed me was all those times that I was talking about or had those internal feelings of nobody really helps me or I'm in this alone. I had created that myself because I was unwilling to ask for help. So one of the lessons that I learned was that it is really okay to ask for what you need. And people are either going to say yes or they're going to say no. Number 2, I learned not to get stuck in a cycle of poverty. So in looking at this professional development organization, I had been a part of it for a very long time. And I was getting transformation in so many different areas of my life. And I watched people around me grow by leaps and bounds in different areas of their lives. But what I noticed was that people were still struggling financially. People were still needing to ask for help when it came to their finances. So what that showed me was I didn't want to get stuck in a place where I had to ask people for help financially. And I noticed that even if you're in an environment that is allowing you to improve in other areas, finances is something that you might want to focus on specifically and individually. This is why we have our Plan and Grow Rich budget binder and our 10K budget template, because this isn't something where just because every other area of your life is improving, your finances are just going to automatically follow suit. No, this is something that you want to give special attention to. So if you are in a place where you're ready to have your finances go to the next level, I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to access both our budget binder and also our budget spreadsheet. Number 3, don't get complacent living beneath your financial potential. This is very similar to number 2, but I remember one of the people in the program said to me, She told me, she said, you know what, Tasha, I've gotten comfortable with being poor. And that never left my mind, that somebody would get so comfortable with being poor that they're working on themselves in every other area, but they're not working on this. And so I just wanted to make sure that I put this in there specifically. Don't get complacent just because, there's improvement living beneath your financial potential. You deserve a good job. You deserve to have money in the bank. Even as you're improving your love life or you're improving other areas of your life, you want your finances to come along as well. Number 4, there is actual power in community. I learned this because we would actually do stuff together. And things that for some of them would seem like things they wouldn't have been able to do on their own. If we have a conference that we all have to go to that's in a different city, people who have no money are suddenly figuring out ways to have money. They're suddenly figuring out how to leverage the group, how to barter, how to work together, how to split the car, how to split the room, how to split the food. I ain't never seen cooperative economics work so well before in my life as I did in this organization. And I really got an opportunity to see what it looks like when you operate as a community and not just as an individual person. Do you know how powerful that is? When I was asking the question, what are some of the things that are detrimental to the Black community? Somebody answered me, a lack of unity. And that is so true. So one of the things I learned from being a member is that community is a powerful, powerful thing. Number 5, I learned that when there is a will, there is a way. Similar to when I was watching people suddenly remember how to leverage cooperative and group economics, I realized that if people want to do something, they will. I noticed that people would come into our programs with no money, with nothing, not having a way to pay, not having a way to get there, not having a place to stay. And then all of a sudden, when you empower them and you don't accept their excuses, they were finding solutions that didn't appear to them before. Now, I grew up in the hood. Nobody had to tell me this. I already know this. When somebody wants something, they're going to figure out a way to get it. People in the hood might not have money, but I bet you a lot of the time they have exactly what they want. So I learned that when there is a will, there is a way. You do not have to be caught up in your circumstances. If you focus on creating a solution, 9 times out of 10, you probably will. All right, number 6. Let me make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6, start from your possibility and not from your limitation. There are so many areas of my life, and specifically in my finances and in my business, that I didn't even realize that I was operating from a place of limitation. When it came to the ideas that I was thinking, when it came to the money that I was spending, when it came to the mindset that I had, there was a sense of scarcity, right? And a lot of times I was only thinking about money. But there's so much else available to you when you think about the full realm of possibility. When you go beyond just thinking about money. When you go beyond just thinking about what you as an individual have, right? So when you start thinking about possibility and you start to get creative, ideas and solutions make themselves available to you that you didn't even see, think about, or realize before. And I love this because one of the things that I've noticed between people who are able to build wealth and people who are not, people who are able to build wealth are willing to get creative. They're willing to find solutions. They're willing to think of another way. Just because they don't have one resource or they don't have this other thing or they don't have that, they don't let that stop them. They're thinking about, what do I have access to? What resources do I have at my disposal? When there is a will, there is a way. Number 7, I learned that no is a complete sentence. When you are in community where people think that because you share the same beliefs, they can use that to get you to do what they want to do, what they want you to do, instead of what you want for yourself, I've learned that sometimes you just have to say no, and there is no reason needed. And this applies to your finances as well. When your friends are asking you to borrow money, no. And of course, there's some caveats to that. But, when your family is asking you to go on a vacation last minute, no. Like, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not give a reason. It's okay to not feel bad because of the expectations that other people have on you. This is your life, and you got to live it the way that you see fit. Number 8, prices increase with inflation. Baby, when I tell you every quarter on the dot, those prices were increasing. There was no question. There was no thought. Nobody was wondering if anybody could afford it. When the price was going up, the prices was going up. But what this also shows me now in our current economic times is when inflation is running rampant, you want to make sure that your pay is going up as well, right? So if inflation is going up and if prices are going up, then your pay has to go up too. And if you are a business owner, then your prices should be going up too. Number 9, it doesn't serve you to blame others for where you are now. One of the things I saw in this organization, people would come and they would share about some of the things in their past that were holding them back. And one of the things that I've noticed was usually on the very first day, a lot of people would come with stories about their family. And I remember when I was sitting in the program and I was taking it for myself, I was listening to a man talk about how his parents didn't pay for his college tuition and how he still held resentment and bitterness from that and how it impacted so many areas of his life. How he had a sense of entitlement, how he had the resentment, how he didn't trust people to come through for him. And you might think that this man was in his 30s, maybe his 40s, but he was actually in his 50s. And I realized at that moment for myself, I never want to be in a position where I'm blaming other people and their financial decisions for where I am in my life, because it doesn't help. All it does is leave you with a trail of regrets. So whatever it is that you have to take care of so that you can be fully accountable and responsible for your finances in your life, I highly recommend that you go ahead and do that, because you don't want to get to some big age and still be holding on to that resentment. It's not cute at all. And then number 10, this is probably one of the greatest. Honestly, all of them were pretty great, but I love this one so much. When you play stupid games, you will win stupid prizes. Or better yet, you are going to win the prize for whatever game you are actually playing. And for me, I think about this all the time. Like, if I don't take my car in for maintenance, what game am I playing? I'm playing the car issue game. If I'm driving on a suspended license, what game am I playing? I'm playing the they're gonna pull me over game. If I am not paying my credit card bills on time, what game am I actually playing? I'm playing the I'm not gonna have good credit score game. So sometimes we think that our outcomes are divorced from our actions, but it really helped me to see that if I look at what I'm doing right now, it's really gonna give me a good indication for what things are gonna look like down the line. And for me, that's the start of responsibility and accountability. I can't act surprised for the consequences that come up in the future when I knew exactly what I was doing right now, okay? So I hope that these 10 financial lessons were beneficial to you. And if they were, I recommend that you go over and you watch our 10 money mistakes video so that you can learn what financial mistakes you can avoid on your road to financial freedom. And with that, beautiful people, I want you to know you are not helpless, you are not hopeless, and you are not powerless. In fact, you are powerful beyond measure, and you have everything that you need to take your finances to the next level. Thank you so much for being here. Gotta stay.